And we started with a 5-frame nuke, which is basically like a queen and 4 frames of bees. Since we're putting the bees in without any comb, we feed them sugar water. And these are just the jars that we use. And then they free feed off of this until they get their combs made. So last week we put in a second box, this deep box, which had 10 empty frames in it. Last week these were completely empty, and the bees are just barely starting to work on them. But as you see, there's more and more wax on each of these frames. As you get toward the center, that's when you get your real activity going. It takes a lot of bees to make honey. One bee in its lifetime will make 1/12 of a teaspoon of honey.
What do we expect to get out of these hives?
Well, these hives most likely, since we're just getting them started, we won't pull any honey from it this year, okay? But I would expect that we should be able to get like 60, 70 pounds next year.
They need the honey to overwinter for
Right, because you have like 50,000 bees that you want to overwinter, plus the queen. So that's a lot of bees.
They're getting their tea. Their tea.
That's their tea.
They're getting their tea, yeah.
And you don't want to starve them. The smoke is just to calm the bees down a little bit so they don't get too excited. This piece of plastic here is called a queen extruder. The bees seal this pretty well. And it's basically to keep the queen in the bottom box. You always want to kind of know where she is. Here you can see these 5 frames here were the ones that we bought. Okay, full of bees. And these were the new ones. So all this is new honey. See all that? That's the beginning to cap that. That's capped honey.
Okay, so they seal off the comb.
Right, that's the final product.
You sound angry.
Well, they're, yeah, they are. Give them a little bit more smoke. See, a lot more capped honey.
So once it's all capped, do you leave it in there for them?
Yeah, you leave it in here, and then you would, if you would be harvesting this, you would do it like, the middle of next month. We might be able to harvest a few frames, and this is pretty good production. See the cells on the bottom? Those are drone cells. Those big ones. Those are the males.
So the point, you periodically check each box?
You want to check each box. You want to, you're looking for disease or like moths and stuff. There's a lot of times you'll get moths in here. Sometimes you'll see a new queen cell, okay, because every once in a while they'll try to make a new queen cell. Usually you want to get rid of those because you don't want your hive to swarm, because you lose all your bees and lose all your honey.
So they've gone through all their sugar water in this box, and we'll fill that up and
yeah,
give them more sugar water?
We'll add more sugar water, and we'll continue feeding sugar water maybe until we run out of sugar, I think. And then that way, then we'll stop. And then that way they'll continue just making honey and stuff from the floral resources around here. You really don't want to feed them too steady diet of sugar water, because then you have sugar honey. The queen is down here. She lays all her eggs in the bottom box, okay? And the top box is where they keep the pollen and the nectar and the capped honey. Now the first thing the bees are going to be doing is going in and sealing all these boxes together again. They glue them together with what they call propolis, which is basically pine resin. What we're doing with the sugar water, you use that 2 times, in the early spring when you're trying to get a hive established, and they have to put a lot of resources into like comb production. So, and then you feed them in the fall so that the hive will be strong to carry over to the springtime. Try not to kill as many bees as possible.